what's fascinating about people with extremely high IQs? Their public image doesn't match reality. Most of us picture someone brilliant as the obvious star of the room, loudly confident, solving problems out loud, making sure everyone knows they're the smartest. Psychology research tells a much quieter story. The behaviors and traits that actually show up in people with very high IQs often look like the opposite of what we expect from intelligence. And sometimes they look like the opposite of intelligence altogether. After years of studying highly intelligent people, cognitive psychologists have discovered that a very high IQ doesn't just make someone smarter. It fundamentally changes how the brain processes the world, and those changes create very specific, recognizable patterns. Here are 11 psychological traits that research consistently identifies in people with extremely high IQs. First, they crave solitude. Highly intelligent individuals often spend a lot of time alone, not because they dislike people, but because their brains are constantly hard at work. The prefrontal cortex, which handles complex thinking, planning, and deep reflection, works best in quiet, distraction-free environments. For them, solitude isn't loneliness, it's fuel. Studies suggest that frequent social interactions can actually lower life satisfaction for people with very high IQs, because their minds recharge through stillness and deep focus rather than constant stimulation. This doesn't make them antisocial. It just means their cognitive system runs at a depth most people never reach, so it needs quiet to perform at its best. Second, their minds never fully turn off. Many people with very high IQs describe their thinking as always running in the background, whether they're relaxing, sleeping, or doing everyday tasks. Thoughts keep turning, problems keep looping, and future scenarios keep playing out mentally. Neuroscientists have found that higher intelligence often involves richer connections between distant brain regions, which creates constant internal activity. The brain isn't broken, it's just built for non-stop connection-making and simulation. That's why rest feels harder for them than for others. Third, they feel things more intensely than they show. Contrary to the stereotype of the emotionless genius, research shows people with significantly higher IQs actually experience emotions more deeply. They're highly sensitive to beauty, injustice, art, and human suffering. This emotional over-responsiveness doesn't make them dramatic or emotional in a stereotypical way. It makes them acutely aware of the world's complexities. The trait is often hidden because these individuals are masters at managing their expressions, keeping the intensity private while still feeling it strongly. Fourth, they're comfortable with uncertainty. People with very high IQs tend to be far more willing to admit, "I don't know," than those with average intelligence. This isn't arrogance or false modesty, it's intellectual humility. The famous Dunning-Kruger effect shows that lower competence often leads to overconfidence, while higher understanding leads to recognizing how much is still unknown. When a person with a very high IQ says they don't know something, it usually means they've thought deeply enough to see the full complexity and limitations of their knowledge. Fifth, they struggle to find equals. Highly intelligent people often find it hard to connect with others at their level of depth. They don't necessarily feel superior. They simply get bored or unstimulated by conversations that don't go deep enough. Decades of research have shown this feeling of stimulus poverty, a quiet longing for real, challenging mental exchange. As a result, they may seem aloof or distant, not because they lack social skills, but because most environments don't offer the mental fuel they need. They often calibrate themselves to fit in, which means a lot of who they really are never gets expressed. Sixth, they update their beliefs easily. Very high IQs are associated with strong cognitive flexibility. They treat ideas as working hypotheses rather than fixed truths. When new evidence contradicts what they once believed, they revise their thinking without seeing it as personal failure. This trait is one of the strongest predictors of excellent problem-solving ability. From the outside, It can look like inconsistency or unreliability, but it's actually the opposite. A mind that prioritizes accuracy over ego. Seventh, they observe more than they speak. In group settings, people with high IQs often prefer to listen and observe first. They pick up on subtle social cues, unspoken tensions, and deeper meanings that others miss. Research links higher IQ to better social intelligence, but this also means they need more time to process what they're seeing before speaking. It's not that they're slower thinkers, it's that they gather more complete data. The quiet observer is frequently the one with the most accurate picture of what's really happening. Eighth, they procrastinate on the work that matters most. People with very high IQs often find it hardest to start the projects that mean the most to them. Smaller tasks get done easily, but ambitious work feels overwhelming because their brains can see every possible flaw, every way it could fall short of excellence. This isn't laziness or lack of care. It's what researchers call complexity awareness. The mind that envisions the full standard often waits until it can deliver something truly worthy. The work that never starts is usually the one that would matter the most. Ninth, they get bored quickly with routine. Highly intelligent people have low tolerance for repetition. What satisfied them yesterday may no longer provide enough stimulation today. Neuroscientific research suggests this ties to higher dopamine activity in the reward centers of the brain. New challenges keep the system engaged. This is why they often change careers, pursue multiple interests, or feel restless in seemingly comfortable situations. The brain isn't being ungrateful. It's simply searching for the level of stimulation it was designed to enjoy. 10th, they doubt themselves more than most people expect. People with very high IQs often experience genuine, recurring self-doubt. It's not performative humility, it's the deeper understanding that comes with complexity. The more you know about a subject, the more clearly you see how much remains uncertain. This pattern connects to the Dunning-Kruger effect at the high end. Greater insight reveals greater gaps. Many highly intelligent people hold themselves to the highest standards and see any gap between potential and performance as a personal shortfall. This doubt is often the clearest sign that they're operating at a genuinely high level. What's striking about all of these traits is how often they're misunderstood. The person who needs solitude looks antisocial. The one whose mind never quiets looks anxious. The one who feels deeply looks sensitive. The one who doubts themselves looks insecure. The one who doesn't fit in looks difficult. In reality, they're often the signs of a mind built to process, connect, and understand more than most people do. A very high IQ isn't just about knowing more or thinking faster. It's about experiencing the world with fewer filters and greater intensity, making both its power and its demands uniquely intense. If any of these traits felt true for you, comment with which one resonated most. I read every comment. If this video helped put words to something you've been carrying quietly, share it with someone who might need to hear it. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the next video. Goodbye, and see you next time.